In my opinion, there is no such thing as good or bad food in diet. Now, that can be quite controversial because it goes against what Slimming World and what certain diet culture dictates. And of course, calorie dense food that doesn't fill you up, that you can overconsume, is not good for you usually. But there is a balance in moderation. And I'm going to give you sort of 3 reasons why, okay? The first reason is because there is always a time where you have to consume certain food groups. Now, what I mean by this is the best way of, best analogy I can put across for this is money. Let's just say you want to save money for the calendar year or the calendar 5 years or whatever it may be. You have a target in mind. Does that mean that you can't go on holiday? Yes or no? Well, of course, an expensive holiday will go against your money goals, but there's many positives to a holiday. It's relaxing, you get a recharge, you might be able to go again when you get back, you might be able to work harder when you get back. So most people would accept that a holiday is a good idea when it comes to saving money, even though it goes completely against your goal. It's a similar thing with weight loss, okay? So there is always going to be a time and a place where, for example, somebody bakes you a cake. Well, you might have given up cake because it's a bad food. Well, does that mean you canned it back to them? Probably not. It's a tough one, right? There'll be a time when you go to a restaurant and you're having a 3-course meal and some wine comes out. Well, wine is a bad food. Alcohol is probably one of the things that is most obviously bad for us. It has no nutritional value. Does that mean you can't have it? Well, if you're setting yourself up for this, I'm only going to have good, because let's face it, if there is only good or bad food, you're only going to have good, aren't you? Then we need to have an understanding of moderation around it, because truth be told is, in my opinion, life is life. It's not going to allow you to only consume good food all the time. With that in mind, we know that people tend to press the eject button as and when they do something that they didn't set themselves up to do. So when life comes along and means that you have to have bad food, you have it, and then it becomes this sort of start again on Monday philosophy. So Saturday night you have it, Sunday binge eat, start again on Monday. Well, that's going to cause a lot of harm over the course of time. Maybe people even wait longer to the 1st of January, Christmas, all the bad food comes along then, and we wait till the 1st of January. It's a trend that many people are familiar with. If we have an open mind towards it and go, right, okay, so what do I need to have as pillars of my health? There's plenty of studies showing that protein needs to go up. Many people still aren't getting enough post-weight loss surgery, okay? We sort of say 60 grams, but there needs to be a view of getting 80 to 100 over time. Let's just say you're 6 months post-op and you don't know what that looks like. I'd really invest time in understanding what that looks like. But let's just say we're hitting 80 to 100 grams of protein. We're getting our fluids in at 1.5 litres. We're getting our fibre in, getting double figures fibre, 10 to 15 grams of fibre. Then, once that's all in place, if there is a desire to moderate, I think there is room to moderate. I tend to recommend about 10% of your calories per day being in that sort of snackier, slightly more calorie dense food. That's not going to cause too much harm. Now, again, there will be a time when you have to have a pizza. There will be a time when you have to do whatever it is you have to do. But as long as we have that goal of like, I'm going to have 80%, 90% of my day the right stuff, topping it up with the bad stuff. And when I say bad, I don't want to be a hypocrite here. In my opinion, there is no such thing as bad food, but probably slightly more calorie dense food that doesn't fill you up very much. That's very moreish, so it tends to be sort of like sugary carbs. A combination of carbs and fats tends to do that quite well. Pizza, chocolate, crisps, things that don't involve protein. So again, if we have protein first and we have fluids in for the day, you're creating the environment for you to thrive, because we know that people tend to turn to the slightly more calorie dense stuff when they're stressed out, when they're tired, when they're not full. Again, these pillars in place around protein and fluids. And I'm even going to throw exercise in there as well. Even though it's not a nutritional thing, it helps with a progressive environment, it helps with a stress release, and it takes people's mind off doing bad food when maybe they don't want to, okay? The second reason why I'm going to bring this up is because the industry just won't really allow it to happen. What do I mean by that? Define to me bad food. What is it? So a salad is a good food. Well, there's plenty of, I don't know, chicken bacon salad with lots of sauce on. That's 900 calories that you can get. I saw one the other day, actually, it was 920 calories from Tesco, I think it was. And is that a good food or a bad food? Well, it says salad on it, so surely it's a good food. What does that mean? If you have a grilled chicken burger with salad on it, well, that would be considered bad food. It's got bread in it. But if you take it all out and have breadcrumbs in a salad with chicken and salad there, it becomes a salad then, and it's a good food. So what's the difference? Well, sometimes it's how we put things together. And industries and companies will use that to their advantage. A debate that came up on our private Facebook group recently is protein bars a good or a bad food, or are they okay for weight loss? Of course they're okay for weight loss. They're around 200 calories, 250 calories. You can adhere to that in a deficit. You tend to get 15 to 20 grams of protein. Does that mean that we should only have protein bars, or does that mean that protein bars are good? Oh, well, no, because if you have 3 or 4 of them, you're going to have a problem. Firstly, because they usually contain a thing called polyols, which can be a gut irritant. And if you're post weight loss surgery, you don't want anything that's going to cause a gut irritant to you. Caffeine's a similar thing. Caffeine's fine for you, but if you have too much of it, it can cause sleep issues. It can be a gut irritant in itself. So there's, again, moderation is king, okay? And if, for example, on the protein bar debate, if you are looking to hit your protein on a day-to-day basis, you understand the benefits as to why you're doing that, you're having meals throughout the day and you're a bit short and you fancy a treat to top up a protein bar, go and do it. If you can afford to do it. By the way, protein bars are expensive, okay? They're £2.50 a chuck. I think you go to B&M, they're a bit cheaper. But the point being is that there's other variables in play here, whether it makes it a good or a bad food. Say I say it's a good food and everyone goes and starts buying them and you can't afford them. Well, do you know what I mean? There's all these layers to weight loss, to nutrition, that makes it far more less obvious than good and bad. And the third thing, and I've already sort of touched on it a little bit, is the fact that we tend to press the eject button quite quickly when it comes to good and bad food. We try and be as good as possible. There's plenty of studies to show that when people who eat an amount of sugar completely give up sugar. Who's the type of person who's going to completely give up sugar? Well, it's probably someone who eats quite a lot of sugar, isn't it? And there's plenty of studies to show that 2-3 weeks down the line, people who give up sugar double compensate 2-3 weeks later because of there's that connection with it. Now, our body is resilient. It can deal with a certain amount. Of course, if we're just mindlessly eating sugar and we're over-consuming to the point we're in a calorie surplus without getting any other nutrients in, or even having an understanding or caring what other nutrients they bring in, then yes, that's going to result in problems. But if we're having around 10% of our day and the odd snack, and we're doing that now and again to top up what we've had, no real problems. It's not like you eat something and it sticks to you. You know, like our body is a thermic. It's the thermic effect of food is present. It burns. It's a constant furnace all the time. But if you overuse the furnace, it can't do it. It tends to stick. That's the way calories work. It's so similar to money. I can't. When you understand calories, when you understand macronutrients, it's so similar to money. We all earn a certain amount of money, hopefully, and we make decisions on a day-to-day basis based on whether we afford it or not. If I wanted to sell you this iPad and I said to you it's 50 quid, you'd probably say, oh, that's a good idea, that's worth my money. If I said to you it's £1,000, you might go, I know that's not worth that, I'm not going to buy it. It's the same thing with food, okay? You have a certain amount of calories per day, a certain amount of money that you earn, and you should make decisions on a day-to-day basis whether you're going to do it or not. So, for example, if that donut is 400 calories, okay, what does that donut do for me? Well, not a lot when it comes to nutrition. What does that beer do for me? Well, not a lot when it comes to nutrition, but I've got this amount of calories here. I know what the rest of my day looks like. I know what the rest of my week looks like. Maybe I could work harder, earn more money, work harder, exercise to offset the calories a little bit, but I don't really like that relationship too much, but you can do that. Or can I save some here or make it work here? Or if you're going to do that and have no care in the world, then that's fine, but don't beat yourself up afterwards, okay? That's a tough one because obviously there's certain disorders around that. But my point being is own it. There's an element of control here. What I'm keen to get across when it comes to weight loss is that there is more control in this than we think. Now, yes, this is an emotional game, and yes, there are certain conditions in play here which make it less like you're in control. But I think let's furnish people with the facts, knowledge, understanding, empowerment, and then practice control, rather than what, in my opinion, is happening quite a lot, a very confusing industry, creating lots of problems towards people so they don't understand, so of course there's less control. And that's why I want to do these sort of videos around this sort of topics, the good and bad food. Is it a thing? Not really, but it's more about pillars per day, building habits in per day, getting your energy up from doing these pillars, having an appreciation for doing them, and then once we've got that in play, of course you can top up now and then, okay? But this, and then when I say now and then, by the way, I mean like daily, that's fine. But if we're just mindlessly consuming toast in the morning, bread being a good or bad food, well, there's no protein in toast. It's very Moorish, you can have quite a lot of it, and suddenly you're going out to work and you're going on 0 grams of protein. The problem with that is the knock-on effect is you're not full, so you're probably going to chase more carbohydrate type food, and eventually you're out of balance, okay? Whereas if we go protein first throughout the whole entire day and topping it up the other way around, there's room for moderation. I hope that makes sense. Hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know, comment below. All the best. Bye-bye.